Hi, everyone. Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech. And iOS 27 is just 1 month away from being shown off at WWDC 26. And in this video, I'm going to talk about features that I would like to see Apple do with iOS 27 and some features that are confirmed that we can see. And the first feature has to do with a Siri app. That's something that I would like to see in iOS 27. And not only that, I would like to see it come to all iPhones. Now, honestly, Apple is improving Siri with Apple Intelligence, and I would love to see a Siri app. This is a concept I created using Google Gemini. And if we zoom into it here, this is what the app potentially could look like. But honestly, this is a concept, so Apple could change it in different ways. This is a concept of what the interface looks like. We could have sort of card-style conversations within the Siri app. And honestly, it could have its own widget as well. I would love to see Apple try that in iOS 27. And honestly, it would be a really great design. And hopefully they change this interface on older devices. I do love the glow at the bottom, but Apple Intelligence has the glowing sort of outline around the edges of the device. They probably won't change it to that because of separating it between older and Apple Intelligence. But hopefully they do change this orb for older devices in some type of way in iOS 27. Now, another feature I would like to see Apple change, or at least try out, is the ability to have sort of, if you go into Safari here, and how you have all of your different menu options, how you have sort of your share sheet with your different share, recent lists, and all the other buttons. If I go into it here, Apple definitely likes to change different things around. But typically, if I go into bookmarks here, this is where you will see the change. So we have bookmarks, we have reading lists, and we have history. Well, what I would like to see Apple do in iOS 27 is we could have a sort of the update, sort of where we can have bookmarks, history, a share sheet, and the reading list directly on the homepage of Safari. It would be somewhere within the favorites homepage, and I would love to see Apple do that in iOS 27. Of course, I created this concept using Google Gemini and screenshotting my Safari homepage, but I would love to see Apple change this. Now, there is a lot of leaks and rumors that we can have an undo and redo button within the homepage, though I really don't think that's necessary to have an undo button, because honestly, if I go into it here, if we go ahead here and add a widget, and then we shake the phone, we pretty much can undo. So I don't think it's necessary to have an undo and redo button, though we can in iOS 27. Even though we can shake the phone to undo things, that's one of the leaks and rumors, along with tab groups in Safari being able to name themselves based off of what's inside. So WWDC, it would say something along probably Apple updates, but that's probably for Apple Intelligence devices. But there is a lot of things we can have with older devices where we can have two liquid glass sliders. Honestly, liquid glass doesn't get dark on the home screen. And I shared this in a video that I released, a YouTube Shorts video. If I go into YouTube here, and if I go into my channel, I shared this in a YouTube Shorts. So if I give it a second here, my most recent latest video, or latest YouTube short rather, I would like to see the return of dark mode to the home and lock screen, or pretty much the home screen rather. Because we can already do something similar to this under display and brightness. And we go to liquid glass, and we go to tinted. Now the notifications that we have will pretty much be darkened. And if we turn on light mode, they will get light. However, and that does tint the icons within, or tint liquid glass within apps. However, it does nothing to the app folders. They're still, honestly, very light. And while I do have a shortcut called actual dark mode, if I go into shortcuts here, because I do tend to delete the control center, or the shortcut control that I have here. But if I go into shortcuts, and now I clicked into the shortcut here, we have actual dark mode, and you can see the app folders are sort of dark, now they're light. That's called actual dark mode. I'm going to go ahead and disable that. We could have dark and light mode back within the app dock and app folders, or at least a way to customize it with two liquid glass sliders. Something I would like to see in iOS 27. Now, honestly, there is something that I think the iPad could definitely benefit from, or get in iPad OS 27, and that's with the traffic light buttons. So if I go into, say, a random app here, and while it is nice that we have these buttons, it would be even nicer, honestly, to sort of have like a bar, sort of a app bar, or a way, because honestly, the buttons, they definitely get in the way of different things. So maybe we can have, I don't know exactly what it would be called, but maybe a multitasking bar. Instead of having the traffic light buttons hide behind the app or sort of pop out, there would be a bar. So when you're clicking on different menus, say you're in an app, maybe say you're in Tubi, or you're in an app that has all of its menus and the traffic light buttons, when you click to minimize, close, or full screen and half screen, you're basically clicking right over, say, the back button. If you're trying to go back or get out of a video, you basically end up clicking those buttons when you meant to click the back button. So it would be nice to have like a bar up at the top where it can either move down menus or something along those lines, so you're not clicking those buttons when you just want to go back to a previous page within an app. Because it can be quite annoying when you're trying to go back within an app and those traffic light buttons tend to get right in the way. So I'm hoping that we see that in iPadOS 27. Now, next week, we're supposed to get a list of all the accessibility features that we can get in iOS 27. We basically get this every year. I believe last year it was rumored that we would get nutrition labels and other features. I forgot what most of them were, but in iOS 18, I remembered it was sort of eye tracking and vehicle motion cues and some different things like that. Or maybe eye tracking was for iOS 17. But we will be getting some accessibility features announced, and when we do, I will make a video on the Hawkins Tech YouTube channel going over what those features are and what we can expect with iOS 27. Now, iOS 27, again, is going to be held on June 8th, the first beta, and I will be testing it on the iPhone 12. This is my iPhone 14, but I'm recording off of my iPhone 12. And my iPad Air, I'm not putting the beta on at least until beta 8. Same with my iPhone 14, because these are my main devices. I will not be installing the beta on these devices at least until it's a later beta. However, on my iPhone 12, I will put the beta on there as beta 1. So you will get to see iOS 27 and hopefully the new Siri app, where it may be similar to ChatGPT or Google Gemini. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. What features are you most excited for in iOS 27? I didn't really mention a whole lot of Apple Intelligence features because honestly, my devices don't support Apple Intelligence, and the majority of people who have iPhones don't have the most expensive iPhones. The average person probably is using something like an iPhone 13 or 14 or 12 or just a regular 15 or 15 Plus. The 15 Pros may be used, but honestly, the 16s and 17s are the most expensive. So Apple Intelligence is obviously for the most expensive newer iPhones, while the general people probably will be using something like an iPhone 14 or iPhone 13 or even the iPhone 12. So hopefully older devices do get a lot of features. I would love to see features for older devices. I would love to see the iOS 14 to iOS 15 update. iOS 15 was a small update, and it did bring a couple features like SharePlay, spatial audio, FaceTime or Face ID with the mask, and an update to Safari. It brought minor features like that. Nothing too big, but definitely something to take note of. And I'm hoping that we get the same with iOS 27 and not just a stability/boring, no feature update whatsoever. Hopefully we get some features worth making a video over, because honestly, that's exactly what I tend to do. So leave a comment down below. What do you think of iOS 27 and what are you most excited for? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram as well as TikTok and X, and also Discord and all the other social media platforms that I post on, which is in my YouTube channel description. I will have a podcast out on Spotify next month for iOS 27 and WWDC, and everything that's announced. That podcast may come probably later. Is next month I'm going to try to do a live stream, though. Be aware if my live stream fails, because obviously I've been having a lot of issues with my live streams where I've been getting no sound. So if that happens, then I'm going to just have to make several video clips. Honestly, I don't know how I'll have to work around it, because honestly, I'm going to have an iOS 27 What's New video. And last year I live streamed iOS 26, and I want to do the same for iOS 27. But I'm Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.